Starting off this new episode with a fun fact right here. Jared will like this fact right here. Tyler Kolek, because Jalen Brunson has been out, Deuce McBride has been out. 24 assists over 3 games last week, only playing a total of 56 minutes. The last two guys with that stat line while playing less than 60 minutes were Campaign, John Wall, 2021, 2022. Showtime. Fellas, how are y'all doing? It's so good to be back. How are y'all feeling?
I'm good, man. It's been unexpected extended absence for us, but I'm glad we jumped back on the mic and get another episode in the books.
For sure. Definitely, life's been happy the last few weeks, so take a little quick break, but we back.
Hey, glad to be back. Excited. You talk about being back on the mic. For those that do not know and have not realized, we got Rush on the mic, and it sound real good, y'all. It sound real good. Let us in the comments. Let us know how you like how it sounds. But before we get into it, man, got some business to take care of. Hit that like button, subscribe, share, tell any and everybody about the pod. Let the algorithm know that this is great content, so we continue to grow.
My issue is with LeBron James. And I just want to say for the record, LeBron James is full of it. And in this particular instance, as it pertains to his son, he is a liar.
Well, I think you could pretty much surmise what our first topic is. Stephen A., LeBron, the beef has been going on for a little bit. It's been talked about in nauseum. Do y'all think, two-part question, has this gone too far? And is this a situation that we should see Adam Silver step in and kind of like put an end to this?
Yeah, I think it's definitely dragged on a little bit. Obviously, there was the confrontation that happened at the Lakers game. Because at this point, what was it, 3 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago? And then, of course, it sort of went viral overnight, and then everybody's seeing it the next day. They wake up, and Stephen A. addressed it on First Take, and then his podcast, and then he went on a couple other shows. And it's funny because the report that had come out, I think Rich Paul had said LeBron had just kind of moved past it. He had said his piece, and then he was just going to let it ride. And then he went on McAfee. It was this week, right? God, it feels like it was.
It was this week.
Went on McAfee, but the crazy part is that I think he spoke. The interview was like an hour and 12 minutes, and the Stephen A. portion was maybe like a couple of minutes. But that's all anyone's really seen from the interview, as well as a couple of other clips. So that kind of restoked the fire, of course, because Stephen A.'s going to respond because he's Stephen A. So yeah, I think it's going on too long, and full disclosure, I'm the one who suggested this topic for the podcast. And I was like, man, am I being messy by suggesting this? Like, am I going to bring it up even though, it's just kind of started to die down a little bit. So I take full responsibility for that. But yeah, I think it's gone on a little bit too long. Should Adam Silver step in? I don't think so. I think he commented on it, I believe. And, it said that, it's, obviously he wants to focus on the game itself and not a lot of these off the court headlines. It's probably bad for the league and good for the league at the same time because, everything's about clicks and engagement. So a lot of people are talking about it, but here we go again, just another topic that's dominating headlines instead of like the product on the court, because there's a lot of great things happening. So hopefully after we talk about it, it'll go away and it'll just be Stephen A. and LeBron don't like each other, but it can stop being topics for every 2 or 3 scrolls on the timeline.
See, that's the thing. I would hope it would be over, but I think we might see something on Monday where Stephen A. has a little 5-10 minutes where he's talking about it again, just because of the other people that have joined in the conversation now. Charles Barkley, Draymond Green. He might maybe not speak to LeBron, but he might comment to what some other people have said. It's Stephen A. Like we said, so he still might drag this on for at least another little 10 minutes. Jared, what was your take on it? Do you think it's gone too far? Has it gotten too personal specifically? Has it gotten too personal?
I think it's gotten a little too personal now because it just seems like it's just a parade going on between most of it Stephen A. Because even though LeBron went on, one podcast, Stephen A. He's just constantly going around to different platforms and talking about it, and it makes him look worse at this point because it's like he's still going on about it. LeBron only really mentioned about it one time, so because he's gone on all the smoke, right? Not all the smoke. Was
Gil's Arena.
Yeah, Gil's Arena. So he went on there and talked about it. On his platform and talked about it. So it just needs to die down at this point. I don't think Adam Silver should step in though. I just think that it is what it is at this point. But Steve A just need to calm it down.
I completely agree. I hope that is over and done with, but it is Stephen A. And I mean ESPN, the higher ups might be okay with it because we just paid you $100 million and it seems like we're getting our money's worth. People keep talking about it. ESPN, the numbers probably are going crazy on First Take. It is interesting to see people that work at ESPN with him saying on the back end, like, hey, Shannon Sharp said it, Michael Wilbon said it, like, all right, Stephen A., you went too far. This needs to be done and over with. Let's see if it even happens. We don't know. Sticking to basketball, now that we got that out the way, sticking to strictly basketball, staying with that man, LeBron James, the Lakers in the last 17 days have played 11 games. They've lost 2 pretty bad games to the Bulls specifically. 2-parter again. What was your reaction watching that game? I know me, it hurt my heart seeing Giddey win the game the way that he did. The game before that. What was your reaction to that game? And do you think that the Lakers are regressing or it's just kind of the tough schedule?
I was punching air when the Lakers lost. The first game, you figure, okay, they're working LeBron back in. It was Rui's first game in a while. You just chalk it up to, the Bulls were more prepared than the Lakers were. The second game, the Lakers absolutely should have won. I think they were up 5 with like 13 or 12 seconds left. Obviously, LeBron has the coverage blunder and then turns the ball over, and then no one picks up Giddey when they inbound to before the full court heave. So yeah, I was tight. I was punching there. I was really upset, but those sort of things can happen even to the greatest players ever when there is some fatigue setting in. When you have played what did you say, 11 and 17? Yeah, so sure. that stuff can seep in. It's still inexcusable because it's a loss that was 100% preventable. They played relatively well. I think had a 15-point lead that got whittled down to 5 with 12 seconds left. So I'm not too concerned about them. Their schedule is just a behemoth to close out the season. I think we're through the roughest stretch in terms of games and so many games and so many nights. They played a hell of a game against Memphis. You can talk about all that Memphis had going on, but they had a big lead. Memphis came back, even took a 4-point lead late, but the Lakers responded and were able to close them out. So I'm not worried. I think if I'm worried about anybody, it's Rui. How much is he going to be able to give them? I mean, you get into the playoffs and you don't have back-to-back games, so technically he should be okay, but he just hasn't looked quite right since he's come back, and I don't know that he will be until the season is over, and maybe he can recover fully. I don't know if there's surgery that needs to be done or what, but I'm not as a resident Lakers fan on this podcast, obviously with Tone, although he should be trying to act impartial sometimes. I am 100% confident in the Lakers, and I think they'll be fine. And the rest of their games, I think, are against Western Conference opponents, and they've played pretty well against the West. So I think they'll be all right.
Speaking of, before Jared chimes in, right? How do you feel the rest of the season will go? Pointing this out, they have a game against Houston, they have a game against Golden State, and they have 2 games against OKC and Houston to end off the season?
I think they'll do all right. Houston plays tonight, and then they play tomorrow night. So, we have the benefit of playing them on the back half of a back-to-back. So hopefully their game goes into like triple overtime and they'll be nice and tired. But the Warriors game is going to be tough because they're trying to stay out of the play-in. And then OKC, we all know what OKC's been doing to teams this year. I think they only have like 12 losses. So the Houston games will be tough. I mean, all the games are going to be tough, right? But I think as long as they can win, if they can split however many games they have left, if they can come out 500, I think they'll be okay and stay in that 4 to 5 range. I just honestly at this point, I just want to stay out of the play-in because anything can happen.
Yeah, I don't think we'll drop down as far to the play-in. We will talk about after Jared chimes in. This Western Conference, the Wild Wild West. I'm gonna read the standings after this and break down how close it is between all of these teams. And literally, like Rush is saying, we don't think it's gonna happen, but that's how crazy the West is. If the Lakers, for whatever reason, go on a losing streak, knock on wood, hopefully that don't happen. They could be a situation where it's a play-in. That's how tight the race is in the West. Jared, Rush did mention the Memphis Grizzlies, and of course, if Rush wants to chime in on this, he is more than welcome to do so. He mentioned the Grizzlies. We all were in shock. The whole Threads community, I'm pretty sure the community on Twitter, the community on Reddit was all in shock that Taylor Jenkins, which I saw, Fox, ESPN, a couple other places actually had him as Coach of the Year just in February. One of the front runners for Coach of the Year, Taylor Jenkins, and both of his assistants were let go from the Grizzlies with 9 games left before the playoffs. What were your thoughts on them doing that, and what do you think this does for the Grizzlies come playoff time?
Yeah, I think it took everybody by surprise. I think that the rumors have it that supposedly John Moran did not like the offense that Taylor Jenkins was building around this team, and Desmond Bain, he actually made a comment on the firing. He basically said it's on the players because like the coaching staff, they give you a game plan to execute, and they didn't fully, I don't know if they really bought it or not, but they didn't go by what Taylor Jenkins was doing. So ultimately, Taylor Jenkins is going to have to scapegoat, even though they are 5th in the West right now. They've been amongst the top 5 all season long, which I'm actually surprised about because of the injuries. Don't feel like it's a fair thing to just, fire him, especially right before the playoffs is about to begin. Like, you really want to fire him. Wait till the offseason, see how far you go with this team in this playoff run when everybody gets healthy. Yeah, I mean, I don't see Memphis really going far now than where we probably thought they would be before this firing. Yeah, because, I mean, who's their coach now? One of the assistant coaches that's on the team. So I did see that someone said he was actually the coach of the Paris team for the Olympics. So that could be a decent fit, but I just don't think he's going to be able to implement that style right away before the playoffs. But also, I want to backtrack to the Bulls-Lakers situation. I want to give Josh Giddey a shout out because a lot of people was coming at him saying it was a bad trade for the Bulls, traded Caruso away. But hey, Josh Giddey is looking like probably going to be their franchise player now. I see the stat the other day saying Michael Jordan and Josh Giddey is the only players to have 5 triple-doubles in Chicago Bulls history. Says a lot. I mean, a lot of people don't like the triple-double stat anymore, but it does give credit to Josh Giddey how great he's playing right now.
You know what? I almost walked off this damn podcast. You gonna call out a stat with Josh Giddey and the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Come on, man. He's trying to make me upset. I'm trying to move. I'm just like the Stephen A. LeBron beef. I'm trying to move past that Bulls game, but y'all keep bringing it back up. Josh Giddey. No, it was you got to give him his props. He took it to us both games, and he's been playing really well. Just so happy, I believe, like it's a contract year for him, right? He can get an extension in the offseason. So it's obviously good timing on his part. And the Bulls have been hot, man. They're right there in the middle of the play-in race, and I mean, I don't think like the Celtics are worried about them, or I don't know if the Cavs are worried about them, but you know, they could give somebody a game or two scare, make a 6-game series in the first round.
Yeah, throw all his stats against the Lakers the last 2 games: 25, 11, 14, and 2, 15, 17, 10, and 8. He's had a crazy last 2 games against them. This year, he's improved his shooting percentage by 0.5 from the 3-point. He was improved at 5 percentage points. It was for 33.7 last year. He's at 38% 3-point shooting this year. So he has improved in that regard, which has been one of the main knocks on his game, is his shooting not being as consistent. It's only on 4 attempts, so maybe it's not improved. It's not that many attempts, but still 38% is 38%. Like you said, 14 points, 7.8 rebounds, and about 7 assists. So, I mean, Giddey is doing his thing. I think they are obviously convinced he will be a part of the future there in Chicago. And to Rush's point, I feel like they do this every year. It's a stretch where towards the end of the season, the Bulls look like a top-tier team in the East. They go like 12-4 to end off the year, sneak into the play-in. Don't do nothing in the play-in, but still, they always end off the year playing some of their best basketball. Definitely looking forward to see what they do in the East. But on the West, this is where it's a little bit different. It's a little bit tricky. Because if the Bulls was in the West, the Bulls would be trying to get Cooper Flag or somebody, because they wouldn't be in the conversation. Western Conference, we're not talking about OKC because they have a 15 game lead between the second seed. So they're not in this conversation. Houston, second seed, is 48-26. The Nuggets are 47-28, a game and a half back from them. The Lakers are 45-29, 3 games back from them. Memphis 44-30. The Warriors are 42-31. The play-in Minnesota Timberwolves are only 42-32. That's a half game behind the Warriors. The Clippers are tied at 42-32. Mavs are 37-38. The Kings are 36-38, and the Suns still fighting against that play-in. They're 35-39. Out of those last 3 teams, we're gonna start at the bottom. We're gonna start with the at the bottom of the barrel. Who misses the play-in from those 3 teams? The Mavs, Kings, or the Suns?
I mean, I can't imagine Devin Booker and Kevin Durant not being at least a part of the play-in, right? But at the same time, they just haven't looked good outside of that first couple weeks of the season. So Sacramento, I would say probably Sacramento drops out just because of everything, all the turmoil and all the turnover and all the changes that they've had to deal with. I think Phoenix finds a way to eke it out and get that last play-in spot. But I could see either Phoenix or Sacramento not being there at the end of the year.
Who you rocking with to miss the play-in, Jared?
I'm gonna say Dallas. Not surprised that they're still kind of floating around. But yeah, I think they're. You would think that would be the team that would fall out due to all the injuries, but I know Anthony Davis came back. I don't know how many games has he played so far.
I think he's played two or 3, but they haven't lost since I don't think they've lost a game with Anthony Davis in the lineup.
2-game winning streak with him back.
Yeah, and even the first game he played, I think they won. So they're like, I'm pretty sure they won that game. I think they're undefeated with Anthony in the lineup, which is kind of crazy.
Sir.
That's kind of crazy. So, all right, if that's the case, then I would think it would be Sacramento. Because Anthony Davis would stay healthy. They
the Kings.
Yeah, because it's funny with the go back to the Bulls. You would think the Kings no, not to come at the Lakers. But you would think the Kings would look at the Bulls situation and see that Zach LaVine DeRozan didn't work, and then they decide to hey, let's try the same thing. And like, like they're stuck in the same position as the Bulls were. So, really smart trading like De'Aaron Fox. So, come on, to me that was stupid. But
I agree. I think the Kings is missing it. They gonna light the beam in the offseason. It's not gonna be no lighting the beam coming next month. They could like it. They could light the beam at the practice facility and everybody happy and all that good stuff. They miss it. I don't think the management, they did a terrible job this year. Terrible job. If you kept De'Aaron Fox, I think they're in a different position. Like you just said, Jared, you bring over Zach LaVine, which is no knock to him, but the Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan duo didn't work in Chicago. They was a playing team in Chicago at best. At best, a playing team. You bring them over to Sacramento and y'all playing team again. So I don't think it was a good decision. The front office, if Adam Silver needed to do anything, he needed to step in and bring them in the summertime and have a conversation with them. Like, what's y'all plan? What's y'all vision? Because do y'all just want to continue to suck and just be mediocre? Because the thing that sucks when it comes to sports, if you mediocre, we're in the play-in. We're just getting in. We're a wild card team in the NFL. You put yourself in a position not to be able to draft some young pieces to get the team better. There's no point of just being, we was a playing team. You don't get no banners for that.
Nope. Although I do want to take this opportunity to say that Kings gave me and other Lakers fans hell last season because they had their little whole streak with AD hasn't beaten Sabonis, and they swept the Lakers the year before. I hope they enjoy the lottery or wherever they end up. So,
I'm enjoying watching this too.
It's all love at the same time.
He gave you that caveat. I don't got no love for Kings fans. I'm in the same mindset of Shaq, the Sacramento Queens. That's how we view the Sacramento squad. But that's a whole nother episode where we would talk about that. A rivalry between Sacramento and the Lakers. We waiting for y'all to be good again. We'd love for y'all to be good again. It was fun when, Bibby and Weber and Stojakovic. Y'all ain't been relevant.
Even then, I don't even know if it was really a rivalry, because to be a rivalry, like the other team needs to win, like in the playoffs. Yeah. I would think I gave them a little rivalry because it was cute. They was getting mad and all that, and if the refs didn't do this, we would have won. Hey, it didn't happen. Y'all still missed 14 threes and 12 free throws that game. Divock shouldn't have slapped that rebound out to Robert Horry standing right there wide open. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's the situation where you playing pick 'em. You're like, nah, he playing with us. He playing with us. That was that situation.
Or it was like, you better ask about me.
You better read the paper or something. I've been doing that my whole career.
Looking at the higher up of the higher echelon of the Western Conference, who do y'all think actually gets that number 2 seed? The Lakers had it at one point, but now they're the 4th seed. Who gets that number 2 seed?
I actually like Houston to keep it. Denver is obviously the more experienced team between the two of them. But Houston, even if you go back to last season, Houston has just played really well at the end to end last season. I think they're going to do the same this year. 9-1, excuse me, 9-1 in their last 10. They had a little dip where people thought, okay, here's Houston, the wheels are going to fall off, or they drop, but they're right back up to number 2. Green's playing well. They got Amen Thompson back. I know he spent a little bit of time out with injury. Jabari Smith Jr. I mean, they've got depth, and they're exciting too. They're young. I don't know that I expect them to make a whole lot of noise in the playoffs, but I do like them to keep the 2 seed. As Denver has been somewhat inconsistent. A couple of their guys are banged up. Jokic missed a few games. Murray is looking like the Murray we've seen the last few years, but Denver's just like a team that you would expect them to compete, but for some reason I can't put my finger on what it is. Maybe it's the bench or lack thereof, but I'm just kind of worried about them. So I think between Denver, LA, and Memphis, those 3 teams will be 3 through 5. I don't know what the order will be, but I like Houston to stay at 2.
Now, as the Lakers aficionado on the show, as you said, I sometimes have to play the impartial role, being the host and curator at times. What seed do you think is best for the Lakers? Right now, they're the 4th seed. They play Memphis if the playoff starts today. If they're the 3 seed, they see OKC in that second round, though. What do you think would be the best seed for the Lakers, or the seed and not even matter for them?
Honestly, I don't think the seed matters. They play really well against the West this year. And granted, things go up a few notches in the playoffs and you really test how ready some guys are. But I'm not really worried about seed. Obviously, matchup wise, you probably want to avoid. I don't know. Maybe you want. I mean, you ask Shannon Sharp. You want to see OKC in round 2. I don't know that it matters. I would say the one team I probably don't want to play is the Golden State Warriors. So I'm not scared. Not scared. I'm on the record. I'm not scared. But if I have my druthers, I'd rather not play them because we all know what the chef can do, and they've looked really good with Jimmy Butler in the lineup with Steph and Draymond. So, that'd probably be the only team I'd be concerned about if we had to face them, even with them more than likely being a lower seed. But other than that, seeding doesn't really matter to me.
Jared, your prediction, looking at the West, who gets that number 2 seed in the West?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Rush on this one. I think it will be the Rockets as well. Like all season long, they've been consistent. They've been good. They have much of a drop off. I think the lowest seed that they went to at one point was 4th or 5th, and they went their way back up. And honestly, I don't think a lot of teams want to see them in the playoffs because they're young, they're exciting, they're fast, and the Sengun, baby Joker, that's what I call him. He's a beast, and Amen Thompson, man, that kid is different. That kid is different. So I think that with the depth that Houston got, I think they can stay in the 2nd seed. I mean, I'm gonna go on a limb and say that they're gonna get to the conference finals.
Oh, okay.
You said the Rockets gonna get to the conference finals?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, okay. I just want to clarify. I just want to make sure I heard you properly. So I'm not commenting on it. I just want to make sure I heard you.
Outside of with him saying that, outside of OKC, which of those teams between that 2 to the 6 range do you think Rush though can make that trip to the conference finals and possibly get past OKC?
I think let's see if they're 2. I mean, I think LA and Denver are probably formidable depending upon where they end up in the rankings. I can tell you probably neither of LA or Denver are really, I don't think they're afraid of Houston. I think you would expect the more seasoned team like Los Angeles and Denver to just, be more experienced, where Houston, they'd really be learning sort of on the fly. And, with youth comes growing pains. So I think LA or Denver, anyone else, maybe Golden State can make a run depending upon who they get, even as a lower seed, if they stay at 6. Everything's a little bit more difficult if you end up in the play-in. So I would say Denver and the Lakers. No bias, of course, but a little bit of bias.
For y'all, staying in that Western Conference, right? 5 through that 8 range, whoever you think makes the 7th and the 8th seed. Out of those teams right there, where you're talking about the Memphis Grizzlies, the Warriors, the T-Wolves, the Clippers, if the Mavs make it, out of those teams, which of those teams do you think can be a first round upset? Like, hey, you better watch out for this team in the first round. They're a lower seed, but they're not really a lower seed.
So, like, if the playoffs started today, Houston, well, you'd have to play in, but let's say there was no play in and it was just straight seedings, right? Houston would play Minnesota. I think Minnesota, if they got to the 7th seed, I think that they could beat Houston in the 7th.
No, they would be Golden State 7th.
Huh?
Golden State 7th.
I see Golden State at 6 on NBA.com right now.
Oh, I'm on Basketball Reference. So who's okay? So what's the record you see?
I see 42 and 32 for Minnesota and Golden State at 42 and 31.
And what about the Clippers?
Who cares about the Clippers? No.
I mean, they're
42, no, I'm just playing. They're 42 and 32 is what I see.
Yeah,
okay, so
I see.
this hasn't updated yet. That's why this hasn't updated for the Clippers.
Yeah.
Okay. Because this one has Clippers 6 at 42 and 31.
Out of those teams, because he was saying if you see the T-Wolves play Houston, he thinks the T-Wolves could actually beat Houston. Let's say, like he said, let's say the standings is at where they at. That 5 to 8 range, which of those teams you think are actually for you is like, yo, they can make a first round upset? While you ponder on that, Rush, pick it back up. You was talking about Minnesota beating Houston.
Yeah, I just like I think you have as even though we like to make fun of him, I think Rudy Gobert is a presence that has to be accounted for defensively. So he can probably give Sengun some fits. And then you've got Ant and you've got Mike Conley. I mean, you've got a really experienced team. I mean, this team was, obviously minus Cat. They were right there at the end of the season last year. So, or at least the conference finals, excuse me. So I just wouldn't want to see Ant in a 7-game series with the experience that team has and the cohesion that they have. They've been together now, and then you've got DiVincenzo and I think Minnesota's a lot better than the 7th seed and where they are in the standings, and we can talk about why they're there. But I think when you get them in the playoffs where everybody's 0-0, I probably, as Houston, I probably wouldn't want to see Minnesota. Nobody else really bothers me down there. Assuming, it's you got Golden State at 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I don't really see anybody who scares me otherwise. But Minnesota, I wouldn't want to see them if I was Houston. I
think you even switch it if somehow Minnesota, they're only literally a game back from Golden State. So even if they end up flipping and they're the 6th seed, I don't think Houston want to see. Honestly, I don't think Houston really want to see either of those teams. They won't openly admit that because they're competitors, of course, but I don't think that's a favorable matchup for them, either of those two teams. Like, if I'm them, I'm hoping that the Clippers, not even the Clippers, honestly, the 3 teams, because who knows with Kawhi being healthy now. You got Norman Powell balling. Zubac is having a career year. It's not many. It's one of those situations, again, when you talk about the Western Conference, you bust your butt all season. You get a number 2 seed, and you got to see one of these teams. You don't get rewarded for that. Like, you don't get no reward for that. You're a number 2 seed, and you possibly got to see Steph and Draymond in a series. You possibly got to see, looking at Minnesota, Ant-Man and Rudy, who's going to be a defensive presence. And then, hey, we missed them. You possibly got to see a healthy Kawhi with Zubac, Norman Powell, and the rest of the crew. And mind you, Ty Lue as well. Ty Lue in the playoffs, that coach, that's a bad man. I'll pass it back over to you, Jared. The ball's in your court. Who of those teams, hey, they might be able to make a first-round upset?
I think the Warriors can make that first-round upset to go get some Nuggets. I think based on what we was all saying about Steph Curry, and they got Jimmy Butler down there. Draymond Green looked like he's going to be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, and I don't know. They starting to play more of their bench, starting to play more of the younger players, and they're starting to play really well together. So I feel like they can give Denver some fits and possibly have an upset against it. I don't know. I'm not too sure about Denver this year, all because they just don't have a bench. And it's you wear out. Joker's gonna do his game. We know that. If you can contain Murray and Brown and Westbrook and Aaron Gordon and Porter, I think you should be fine. And I think Golden State has the capability of doing that.
I completely agree in regards of the Denver Nuggets aspect. They have some questions. They are a number 3 seed, and you respect them. You respect Jokic. But playoff time come, who else is going to be there consistently? like Rush mentioned, we're now seeing with 10 games left. Oh gosh, Jamal Murray looks good. And some would say, hey, this is the best time to actually start playing your best ball. The concern is it going to be consistent during the playoffs? Who's going to show up off of that bench consistently, especially when you see a situation of playing against Golden State where their bench is stepping up? Now, Gary Payton did get injured, and that's a huge piece. So maybe if you come back by the playoffs, it's some question marks. The Western Conference is going to be a bloodbath. Whoever makes it out of there, they will be battle tested once they see more than likely the Celtics or the Cavs, and Jared's prediction that the Cavs are going to make it. It's going to be a bloodbath before they get there. They will be battle tested. And you mentioned Draymond Green is in the running for DPOY. So this episode, we will be giving you our NBA award predictions. We will start off with obviously the one that everybody loves to talk about the most, MVP. I think it's safe to say we have it between SGA, Nikola Jokic. Who are y'all rocking with?
We're moving to the award second part of the show. Yeah, I got Shea. I've been pretty consistent with that all year long, I think. As well as I have OKC winning the championship. I think part of the reason why I feel like he'll win is there is the whole like fatigue narrative, I think. Voter fatigue, excuse me. If you look at Jokic's numbers, I think they're better than they've been at any one of his prior MVP seasons, or at least on par. But I believe they're better the last time I checked. And if you look at his value, like if you look at all the on-off stats and whatever, like it's hard to not give it to Jokic. But I think Shea, best team in the league, or not best team in the league, but best team in the West, excuse me. He's just really, I don't want to cuss no more, but he's just really freaking good. Like, you need a bucket, he's going to get you a bucket, right? Like, and all the offensive stats and all the 40-point games and the 30-point games, the head-to-head, the first head-to-head game they played with Denver, he outplayed Jokic, and then, Denver came back and won the next night. I just think it's his award. I think it's his, to be cliche, I just think it's his time. You can't go wrong with either of those two players, but I think it's literally a two-man race, like you said. But I like Shea to get it.
Jerry, you got Brunson?
I got LeBron James. No, I'm joking. No, I think it's SGA. I think it's going with him. I feel like he should have got it last year. And for me, I've always been, it's always kind of narrative based with MVP now. I've always been best player on the best team, even though OKC is not the best team this year. And second best, to me, you got to at least be top 3 in the NBA to win the award. So Donovan Mitchell, he's best player on the best team, but his stats is not up to where Shea is. So I feel like it should be him. All the 40-point games, 30-point games. And this is one thing, how people are saying he's a foul baiter now and all that stuff.
Foul merchant.
Mm-hmm. And when the media start giving you that label, more than likely you're going to get the MVP, because that's usually the label with the MVP nowadays, except for Jokic and Giannis and everything. But like with Harden and Westbrook with the triple-double stuff, he's a triple-double merchant. Once they label you some type of like spammy type of skill, you're going to get it.
Hey, I want to speak on that real quick though, because I think it's one of the stupidest things in the world.
Boy, you read my mind. I was about to be like, can we talk about this foul merchant stuff right quick? But go ahead.
Hey, I'll just say this on it, because it's like his father explained it best, and I was thinking the same thing. His father said, like, are y'all stupid? Part of the game is getting to the free throw line. So if you are trailing me, I got you on my hip and you're coming full speed, I'm going to stop so I can get a free throw. Right. Easier bucket, you get in foul trouble. Now your third man on your team, the 15th man on the roster, that I come off the bench and come guard me, I'm going to drop 25 now because you in foul trouble. That's your fault, stupid. If you know I'm a foul merchant.
Basketball IQ.
If you know I'm a foul merchant, why are you still jumping? Why are you still running? Like, these are things where I just think it's completely idiotic.
You must be using the iPad. The little thumbs up thing popped up.
I'm using my phone. Laptop not working right now, but yeah.
Hey, I ain't never seen somebody
It's on sync.
himself. He gave himself a thumbs up. Nah, but that's right. All I'm gonna say is if you, and I hate to be like one of those people who say if you know ball, but if you watch basketball, it's not like he's not going to be giving dudes buckets anyway. I mean, the ability to draw fouls is just the cherry on top.
It's a skill.
Yeah, it's a skill. Like Shai's going to give you buckets no matter what. Being able to get to the free throw line, especially like in clutch moments, when the referees may be calling the game tight. I mean, that's just a cherry on top. But he's a complete basketball player otherwise, so it's not like he wouldn't be good if he didn't go to the free throw line as much as he does. And there's really not. I don't, other than 3-point shooting, because I think he's better defensively than a lot of people give him credit for. I don't see a whole lot of holes in his game. So yeah, the foul metric stuff. I think it's just like Jared said. You're good. You're really good. You're elite, and people are trying to find things to tear you down because it's that's what we do as NBA fans. We got to find something to complain about for every player, or we got to say this player is not good because this player is better, or this player is who this player should like. It's just what we do. So I'm not going to rail on it, but
only in the NBA too.
Only in the NBA.
They don't do this in baseball.
Yeah, the foul merchant stuff is silly, but people had a feeling, so I'll let them.
They don't do this in baseball. Oh, he's a home run merchant. He's trying to get home runs. They don't do this in no other sport. In soccer, oh, he's a goal merchant. He just tries to get goals. What? It just don't make any sense at all.
It's crazy.
Hey, Evan, when you watch this and you listen to this, don't shoot me. Don't come to Jersey and put hands on me. I'm going with Jokic just off of the on and off numbers, just on this fact that, hey, when he's not on that team and he's not on the court, it's bananas. Night and day. Jokic not on that team, they're not a 3 seed. I'm sorry. Russ having a pretty good season. Murray's up and down. Porter, Gordon. That's not a 3 seed without Jokic. OKC, without SGA, I still think they would be top 3 seed. That's a loaded squad, which is why as a team, they're going to be scary when it comes playoff time. They definitely should, as Russ is predicting, they should be getting to the finals this year. Looking at Rookie of the Year, this should be interesting how we go with this approach. I think I know Rush's answer, but I'll let him speak. I'm not going to say it for him, but I think I know.
No, go ahead and say who you think it is.
It might be some guy named Stefan Castle, I think.
Yeah. Only due to injury, right? Because Jared McCain looked like he was about to run away with it. But yeah, I like Steph to win. And it's not just because I got to interview him at All-Star Weekend. I just think that how he's been able to sort of come in, ingratiate himself into what the Spurs have their system, and he's been able to sort of work his way into their rebuilding plan, and didn't really see much of a drop off when Fox got traded there either. I think he was still able to keep up his production relative to what he had been doing. But you look at the 20-point games, you look at some of the assist numbers, the defensive potential is he's just kind of oozing with it. Good size. It doesn't really matter in terms of him winning the award. I just like his size as a combo guard in the league. But no, I think he's sort of stood not head and shoulders above the field with McCain out, but I think he's stood out the most. And I think between him and Risa Shea, I think they've gotten and Wells in Memphis, they've just gotten a lot of opportunities. But I really like Stephon. But I think you could probably tell me a couple different names, and I couldn't argue with you.
I'm going with Castle too. On another episode, we will give our all NBA first team and our all rookie team, because the names he mentioned right there, Wells, I think he makes the team. He had a very, very good start to the season, but with that Memphis team being kind of veteran heavy, he hasn't played a lot in that second half, so his buzz is kind of going down. but he definitely, I think he's going to make one of those teams. And Ricochet, underrated. And I only say underrated because it was such a negative response on him being that pick. He didn't have the hottest start, and everybody was like, oh, yeah, he booty. They should have drafted him. He going to be a bust. It's been real quiet with all the productive play he's been doing. Haven't heard much about it, but he's actually been doing a good job. And I see out the corner of my eye, Jared made a face. Yes, Jared's one of the few people that was pointing out the good play of Ricochet. So, Jared, your rookie of the year. Is it Ricochet?
It is Alex Saar, the second overall pick. And I'm gonna read some stats for y'all about Alex Saar because I was looking this up the other day. So he is fourth all time in games with 3 blocks and 3 plus blocks and 3 plus steals by a rookie. He also has the most games by a teenager in NBA history, recording 1 3-pointer made and 1 block. And he's also now the youngest player in franchise history to record a 30-point game. Doesn't say a lot. Washington hasn't been good for a long time, but still, he broke a franchise record. So he's multiple double doubles. At this point, when I'm reading this, he recorded his 8th career double double, and that becomes the first Wizards rookie besides John Wall to record double doubles in back-to-back games. So I think Saar should be rookie of the year. He's getting better offensively. Defensively, he's been solid all year. He's shown the ability to switch on defense. He's shown the ability to cover a lot of space on the floor. His jumper has gotten a lot better. He still struggles at times with it, but he's been having a really good stretch of these last 20 games or so, basically since All-Star break. I feel like he should be it. Not a lot of people watch Washington. Stephen A was literally bashing the team the other day about saying, "Oh, like they're bad and horrible because they just lost by like 50-something points." But if you watch basketball, you know the Wizards are rebuilding. They're taking for Cooper Flag. So, yes, it was a bad loss, but we know that they was probably going to lose at some point by a huge margin. But that shouldn't take away from Alex Saar's play. I think he should be rookie of the year. I think he's been the most consistent on both ends this year, besides Stephon Castle. But I wouldn't be mad at Stephon Castle about it because he's been balling this year.
To your point, though, for the NBA Thirst community and those on here, the only Steven we respect isn't the one that's on ESPN. I just put it out there. He saw the game just like everybody else and made a comment. He ain't been, like you said, he ain't been watching Washington. He said he a Knicks fan. He ain't been watching the Knicks. We not listening to nothing he got to say on his NBA takes.
The Stephen A. This is totally unrelated, but I mean, it's been curious. I've been curious about how, at least on Threads, and you know how dangerous social media is because you can get siloed. That's Kamala Harris. But sorry, you can take that out. That wasn't fair. But when did y'all like start to not care for Stephen A? Was it always, or was it that was it at a certain point where you're like, you know what, I'm not really vibing with him?
For me, it was when I was seeing the takes and it was obvious in his takes, Knicks or other teams, he's not really locked in like he says he's locked in. I respect Stephen A because I know what he's doing.
Yeah.
You're out there getting the clicks because you're trying to get the bag. I respect that and understand that. My issue is, though, you came into the game as a journalist. There still needs to be a level of journalistic integrity to the point of he had a bad couple of days that we just ain't talk about. He lied. Bron was at the Kobe Memorial. Journalistic integrity. You then the next day you killed somebody. He said somebody that was dead that wasn't dead.
No, yeah. I killed him.
That shows to me you're not in the space where I can respect and listen to your takes because you're only really on the aspect of you're an entertainer. Cool. Yeah. And that's how I view him in that prism. You're an entertainer. I'm not listening for your takes. We screaming A. Smith. This is comedy. This is comedic. This is comedic. Watching First Take. If I turn on First Take, it's for comedy. You got two of the best personalities in the game. Screaming A. Smith and you got Uncle Shay Shay. You gonna laugh for a good 2 hours, and then you got Molly in the mix, and they telling her to be quiet.
Yeah.
If you watch it for that's what I'm watching it for.
Yeah.
For me, you know, I think it was a few years ago when he clearly didn't know who was on the mix.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I was like, yeah, nah, I'm good on you. I mean, I've been kind of stopped watching ESPN a long time ago. Based on a few years ago, I actually met Jamel Hill, and this is when I was just graduating from college.
Oh, name drop, nice.
Yeah, so so I talked to her.
What dropped the names, bro?
She told me specifically, don't make ESPN your final destination. It's other, you know, things you can venture into, and she kind of hinted at what ESPN is basically doing now, like. Kind of like predicted the future with it. So,
now, was this before or after she left?
This is before she left.
Oh, okay.
This is 20. When did she leave? But this is 2016. So
yeah, I think it was before.
Okay.
I think it was before that. Mm-hmm. So she basically kind of alluded to it, like, you know, she always kind of been getting a bad rap when she was on there for like the stuff that she wants to talk about, and ESPN kind of like, well, hold on, chill, you can't be talking about that. But you know, that's how it is now. But
yeah,
from then on, I was just like, yeah, you know, I'm just kind of pull away from ESPN. Like, I'd rather like read, you know, a lot of local journalists, even NBA TV. I love NBA TV. Grew up watching it. They're a lot better than what is going on over there at ESPN. To be honest with you.
Yeah. No, I was just curious, because I remember like watching Stephen even before like First Take. During like his first stint at ESPN, because you know Stephen A. gave us the Kwame Brown, you know, sound bites, and you know, he was entertaining, and I think to a degree he still is, but it was just interesting. Like as he's gotten bigger, it seems like the more people you find who like are critical of him and his style, and I was just wondering if it is because of his status, or do we feel like he's changed because he's become so big, or is it just the simple fact of, hey, you're the biggest personality here, so therefore you're going to receive like the bulk, you're going to receive like the most criticism, which sort of just comes, it's par for the course, right? Like every NBA player's best player is going to get the bulk of the criticism, because as a best player you're expected to, you know, always come through and just shoulder that load. So, but I've just noticed it's sort of ratcheted up here recently. Even before the LeBron stuff, it was just like, I was like, damn, like everybody on Threads can't stand Stephen A. And it's actually the same for like inside the NBA. Like a lot of people there don't care for that show either. But like Stephen A. got $100 million contract. ESPN, Disney got all the numbers. Like all the numbers we talk about, they're looking at them, and they made a decision based off the numbers they're getting. So clearly he's a draw in some form or fashion. So
he's doing his job in that regard.
Yeah. But it's just interesting to me just to see like how he's received online versus like him getting $100 million contract. This is kind of crazy.
But you know what I think it is? Also, I think it's ego with him. I think, you know, like the contract, the status and everything. And then a lot of people on Threads have said they feel like Stephen A. thinks he's bigger than the game of basketball. And it definitely feels that way. Because the way he goes off on these rants, like he's like the head honcho of like everything basketball related. And then like he admitted to not fully watching women's basketball a few days ago. But you're sitting there, you know, commenting on it, bashing it, whatever the case may be. But it's clearly way more intelligent people on ESPN basketball wise, but you try to shut them out.
Yeah.
Like the big three of, you know, Shanae,
L. Duncan,
Andrea, L. Duncan, and everything. Like they know way more about basketball. They actually played basketball on a high level.
bro.
You know,
I love that.
I love them. Like it's like
Be saying that
I'd rather
about
watch that.
women not named Jessica, but yo, I love them. They all know their stuff and they've got amazing chemistry. Like I just love everything about. And if you contrast that to like the NBA countdown halftime show, you know, no shade to anybody there. I think it's been problematic for a while, not just like within the last couple of years. I don't know that they've ever really had a good studio show for at least for halftime and pregame for like years. But it's just so much better. It's such a better product, which is crazy because it's literally the same the same company. But that just tells you how you can't always create chemistry, right? Like sometimes it just happens on its own. But I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to say, in case they ever stumble upon Corner 3, let them know that we all love them as a team.
Of course, we love them. And even Stephen A. Nobody on this show. I've seen it too, like you said, Rush, on Threads. A couple months ago, I was like, "Dad, don't nobody like that man." Us on here, we respect them. Nobody hates them. It's just to your point, though. Just like players are held to a certain level, like yo, you're one of the greatest, so you need to show up. Yeah. I think Stephen A. has to be held to that level too. Of yes, we understand the entertainment aspect, but you still should be coming with the facts. You still have a responsibility to actually put out the good content, the good information. This is why you see LeBron, JJ Redick, LeBron, Steve Nash drop a podcast and does billions of numbers off the first episode, because that's that balance. Entertaining, but give us the knowledge of the game. Give us the breakdown. Why are the Knicks not a team that should be taken serious in the playoffs? Break it down. Show me some film. Explain why. Hey, break down Nikola Jokic. Don't just say he should be MVP because, oh my gosh, did you see that pass? Like, no. Give some context. Give some intellect behind it. You was about to say something, Jared?
Yeah. So going on your point. So Brian Windhorst, which I always thought was a good journalist, now he's starting to kind of fall into the ESPN narrative and everything with LeBron and everything. But he said that he doesn't think that LeBron and Steve Nash will have a good podcast just strictly talking about basketball and not having that drama. Why would we not think it would be a great podcast to strictly talk basketball X's and O's for people like us who actually enjoy basketball and just not have drama, narrative related stuff? We want that. That's what we've been asking for. We want pure updates, pure just talking about the game, nothing else.
I didn't hear him say that. I know people had that mindset when LeBron and JJ Redick came together and didn't think it would do well because it was, just talking about basketball. I think it's such a fine line of entertaining, and that's the thing, though, that people have to remember. If Wendy said that, if anybody else said that, it's like close to maybe like 5-6 billion people in the world. Mm-hmm. Somebody gonna like it. Like somebody now, if 5 billion people say your junk trash, all right, that's another story. But when you're talking about something like sports that has so many different viewpoints, you telling me nobody in the world just want to hear is, all right, break down this ATL. Nobody in the world, the 6 billion people want to hear that. Nobody cares about the plays and why did this work and hey, Bron, what did you see here? And none of the players growing up that's trying to be better and trying to be pro, none of them care about that, right? Nobody wants to know how to get better at basketball from one of the greatest players to ever play, right? No, nobody. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and I think like not everything has to be the most watched, right? Like some things are for a niche audience, and that's perfectly okay. Like basketball, but sometimes those niche communities can have like the biggest impact, right? And can really show you more love. Like if you got 100,000 people who are really locked in with your content and they support it and they buy your merch or whatever, it could be way more impactful than if like 100 million people see your stuff, but only like 10 people lock in with you. It'd probably be more than that. But I'm saying just because you get a wider audience doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have like that cohesion and that community that you're looking for. So I think it's perfectly okay for Mind the Game to not have tons of viewership relative or compared to a First Take or, you know, any other studio show that runs on ESPN, because maybe it's for a different audience, right? So, you know, I didn't hear Wendy say it either. I would love to hear, not that I don't trust Jared, but I always love to hear things in full context or read things in full context. But yeah, I don't think that it has to be anything that we're used to as basketball fans, you know, TV, because that's what we say we are tired of seeing. We want to see something else, which is why Mind the Game had such the reaction that it did. It was received as well as it was when it came out, because people were like, finally, like, this is the kind of shit that we've been looking for. And we got arguably the greatest player in the game giving us this game. And then you got JJ Redick, who was, you know, well respected as a podcaster and obviously an NBA player or just a basketball player before that. So one thing I'm curious about is if Bron and JJ, or if Bron and Steve Nash will have the same chemistry that he and JJ did, would be the only thing I want to see. But I'm excited for it. I love Mind the Game, and I'm glad we get it back.
I think maybe it'll be something that they got to be worked through. I think LeBron's team, I don't think it was probably based off of the other things that they produced. It has to be chemistry there. I don't think they're going to put anything out where it's not chemistry. It may not be on the level of JJ Redick, but I think it's going to be chemistry there, and also going to be really good because Steve Nash, as much as people knock him for like not playing defense, you know, he was part of one of the greatest offensive teams ever with the coach of Mike D'Antoni, which is one of the greatest offensive minds. So you don't think that this man's IQ and knowledge with Bron, who's also basically a point forward, they're going to be breaking down they're going to be giving some good knowledge on the game and what they see and why it should be here and this, that, and the third. So I'm definitely intrigued to go to see that when that comes back out. Glad that it is coming back out. Was kind of concerned that it wasn't going to drop again, but I see why JJ is not going to be a part of it. You have bigger fish to fry, my guy. DPOY. I'm going with Dyson Daniels. Rush, who you got?
I'm going to go with Draymond Green. I think he's somebody who could win it every year. I think he's that good defensively. I think he's one of the smartest basketball players in the game today. And I think a lot of people who only consume the game in highlights and social media clips won't see all the things that he does on the defensive side of the ball. Defense isn't always just about how you guard your man, but how you guard as a part of the team scheme and how you cover other people's mistakes. And there are many possessions that I've watched the Warriors where Draymond's guarding literally like everyone on the court at some point in the possession. And he's not a spring chicken anymore either. So to be able to do that at his age with the amount of miles that he has on his body, because, you know, those Warrior teams, they've played deep into the playoffs. I think with Wemby gone and all the hype, you know, there's no hype, you know, that was surrounding Wemby. I like Draymond to get it, but I wouldn't be mad with Dyson either. But apparently he's on off his defensive numbers are.
It's not the best.
We might keep him from getting it.
I just want to see another guard win it. I think Draymond probably does win it, but I'm hoping. My pick would be Dyson Daniels. Crazy year with the steals, the blocks. Hoping that those numbers get to have him win and we finally see another guard, because DPOY is typically the Draymond Greens of the world, the Rudy Goberts of the world, the Anthony Davises of the world. And now that we have Victor Wembanyama, hopefully, perfectly, will be back healthy. I don't see a guard ever winning with Wemby in the league for at least the next 10 years. Jared, are you going with Draymond as well? Or, oh my God, Cat?
Definitely not Cat. But I'm going to go with Draymond as well. Like what Rush said, Draymond could arguably win it every year with the amount of space he covers defensively, his IQ, and you know, people watch highlights and they think that Draymond's just out there doing cardio, and breaking threes, but he really, if you actually watch it, and if you can get a chance to actually listen to the game, when they do the microphones and everything, and you hear Draymond's communication out there, he really is an elite defensive player, defensive mind. Remember I watched the video of Draymond at the end of one game, and he literally called out the play for the offensive team, and he covered every single way the ball went. And I thought it was beautiful to watch. I don't know, I'm a defensive junkie like that, so but I think he is the guy to win it. And I feel like he should have more, to be honest with you. But I don't think Rudy Gobert should have had what? Yeah, it's like 3 or 4. I think
I
Draymond
agree.
should
He
have
definitely
3 or 4.
he definitely should have more. He's been the quarterback of that Warriors defense since he came a part of the team. Once he took over for David Lee, he's been that quarterback of that defense. Looking at 6th Man of the Year award, I started off again. I'm going with that man over in Boston. Peyton Pritchard has been insane this year. That's my pick. All the games with the 20 points off the bench, 30 points off the bench, and with him being on that Celtics team, that loaded Celtics team, end of the shot clock, end of the quarter, can we get the ball in Peyton's hand? Obviously, up until the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter is going to Tatum or Brown. But before that, if he's on the court and it's 2 seconds coming off, you want to get that ball in the Peyton Pritchard's hand.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, but I just want to let everybody know how much it pains me to agree with Tone on this one and vote for a Celtic. But yeah, you can't really go wrong with Peyton Pritchard. So that's all I got.
Jared, your pick.
Yeah, I think we're all going to equal agreement on this one. I got Peyton Pritchard, but to me, I think he's probably the 3rd option on that team now, or 4th option when Porzingis is healthy. And the improvement that he's made this year, it's been really crazy. And yeah, I think then they say he had a crazy stat about Celtics first player off the bench in Celtics history to get like 40 points and like 10 3-pointers or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think he's going.
The other thing too, I just like his story with him. It was just, I think 2 seasons ago, he was requesting to get up out of Boston because he felt he wasn't getting enough playing time. He wasn't getting an opportunity. They finally gave him the opportunity, and boom, Peyton Pritchard, fan favorite. That man, for the rest of his life, can go anywhere in Boston and get a free beer or whatever he wants to do. He is a fan favorite there. Looking at MIP, which I think is one of the more interesting awards because there's a lot of different viewpoints on that. One of the favorites that's on there, if you look at Vegas and the betting odds, is Cade Cunningham. Some would say that's a number 1 overall pick. Some would say, hey, that still should be MIP. Who do y'all have as most improved player?
I'm gonna go with Austin Reeves. I don't have an issue with Cade winning it as some people would, being that he was a number 1 pick. I think I had this discussion with Evan and Aaron on the No Gimmies, but I think if you improve, and if you improve by like a leap margin, you should be in consideration for the award. And I think Cade has done that, so I think he's definitely worthy. However, I really like Austin Reeves because my man has. I mean, I don't want to go through his story, but no one, I don't think, other than apparently the Lakers, unless they just got lucky, fell into his lap, true manna from heaven, could have expected Austin Reeves to be what he is today. And the fact that LeBron trusts him, he's shown up in big moments. He's been able to keep his production and continue to improve with Luka coming in and AD going out and all the changes. You see what he and Luka have done the last couple games. Like, Austin Reeves is a stud. I don't know how good he's going to get, but I can tell you right now, he's pretty damn good. And I think he will get my vote for most improved player, but I think he should be in the conversation along with Cade Cunningham for most improved player.
Jared, are you also co-signing a Austin Reeves pick?
I am co-signing Austin Reeves pick. Undrafted guy to come in to be the 3rd best player on the Lakers. Yeah, I think to me he should get it. I'm one of those people who don't think that lottery picks should get most of it. Even though Cade's improved, but Cade didn't improve by much. Like we know what he was capable of. He was really staying healthy. He only improved by 2 points, in my opinion. Like he only improved by 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. It's just that Detroit is winning, and people are starting to realize, okay, this guy is really good. We get to watch him because the team is good. But Reeves, nobody expected him to be this type of player, undrafted, and now he's a 20-point scorer on a playoff team. So that's what I got.
Not only a playoff team, a championship contender, but that's another topic for another day. I'm going with Austin Reeves as well. That's a 3-piece right there. 3-piece dinner, Austin Reeves across the board. Coach of the year, JB Bickerstaff over here on my part.
This is hard for me. Because my heart wants me to say JJ, but I think I'm gonna go with Kenny Atkinson, my second favorite coach in the league. I just like what Kenny's done with Cleveland. It's not all that. I mean, it's not the same exact situation he did, and he went through with Brooklyn. And I know Donovan Mitchell is lights out, but I really think Kenny does well as in Brooklyn when he has a team of guys who just know their role, right? And you don't have like mega superstars. You've got really good players. You've got maybe one or two all-stars. But, you build that cohesion, that continuity, and you get everybody to buy in. You get great role players who are great at their role, like a Strus, like a Wade, like a Ty Jerome. Like you get those guys who actually help you win games in the playoffs and ultimately championships. It's not easy to put all that together as a coach. And I just think the way that they started off the season, the way they've sustained, every team's going to have, some bumps. But I think looking at Cleveland today and versus where they were last year, I don't see how you can't have them at the top of the list, along with like a JB Bickerstaff and a JJ Redick. But I'm giving it to Kenny.
Jared?
I'm gonna go with Ime Udoka. Based on what he's done from last season to now, 2 seasons ago, Houston was a lottery team. Last year they just missed the playoffs. They was at 500, and now this year they're second in the West. And the one, two, three, fourth best team in the NBA right now. So my pick is Ime Udoka.
Last of the NBA awards, clutch player of the year. I'm going to go with somebody that plays over in New York, Madison Square Garden, Jalen Brunson. Literally, if you watched our pod, I pointed out a stat earlier this year. He accounted for 70% of their clutch points. That's scoring and assisting. When it comes to the clutch, everybody in the NBA, everybody in the Chinese Basketball Association, everybody in the Australian League, everybody over in the African League, everybody that's blind knows it's going to Jalen Brunson, and can't nobody do nothing about it. So for me, it has to be Jalen Brunson. Now, I know SGA probably in that conversation, but Jalen Brunson, he's doing everything for the Knicks when it comes to the end of that game, clutch moments. Whether he's scoring or he's getting somebody to get the bucket, Jalen Brunson, Clutch Player of the Year award.
Yeah, I feel like we need to show Knicks more love on this show. So I'm gonna go I'm gonna go with Jalen too. Although you could obviously have Shea in there, but there's probably only a handful of players who in clutch situations, as if they're playing the Lakers, who I'm just absolutely frightened of. And Jalen Brunson's one of them, because you saw what he was doing to the Lakers in that overtime game before he got hurt. He's just big time. He's just got big game, and he's not afraid of any moment. So I co-sign in saying Jalen Brunson would be my clutch player of the year.
Y'all already know who I'm gonna say. I'm not even gonna say it. Y'all already took the words out of my mouth, so we good.
Oh man, we end off the show with this, right? Speaking of Stephen A, and just that common thing that we've been talking about of social media, the role of the sports commentator, the sports personality, and how it's had a huge impact on players' legacies. One of the things that's came, and I wasn't alive in the 50s and the 60s, so y'all could correct me, but the ring culture conversation I feel has been heaviest in our era of basketball, to the point like we see a KD go to Golden State because the discussion on if you don't got a ring, you basically suck. Sometimes is how it's viewed. Past and present, who are some players that you think their legacy would have the greatest impact if they had a ring?
I would say Vince Carter, number one, my favorite all-time player, who I met in Atlanta. It was the most awkward meeting ever. I can tell y'all about it if you want, but that's sidebar. And I would also say his cousin Tracy McGrady. I think that we would look at their careers way differently had they been able to lead teams to championships, maybe even together, because that's another big what if, right? Had T-Mac not left Toronto for Orlando, what would those two have been able to do together? So I just remember, obviously, I always wanted Vince to win one because he was my favorite player. But I remember seeing like peak elite McGrady and just how good he was, but just wasn't ever really to get over the hump. And I know that that's something that really killed his legacy. Was his performances in the playoffs. So I think we talk about those two guys way differently than we do now if they're able to win one or multiples.
Jared, anybody from the past or even present that comes to mind?
I'll give you my past one first. Charles Barkley. Because, we all know Charles Barkley from inside the NBA, how Shaq is like, you don't got no rings. But Barkley got MVP. In that era when Shaq was talking about when he was dominating, Chuck was back there giving work to everybody as a 6'4" power forward. In an era with a bunch of bigs who was physical and strong. So I think Barkley, with his career, media narrative, whatever you want to call it, would have a completely different ring. And the current one I would say is James Harden. Because what James Harden has done over these last few years, and even right now, people try to bash him, and he didn't win a ring, blah, 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 and give him the label the foul merchant, whatever the case may be. To me, that was basketball IQ, basketball brilliance, and nobody was beating that Golden State team in their play. So you're getting James Harden, Chris Paul, and Eric Gordon to go up against Steph Curry, KD, Clay, Draymond, and Iguodala. It's not going to be enough. And James Harden was taking them to 7 games, getting 35 a game, 40 pieces. So I feel like if he would have had that one ring, things would have looked a lot differently. And also Allen Iverson. I think a lot of people trying to diminish Allen Iverson's career lately.
AI, most definitely. I'll throw some names out there. Currently, Chris Paul. I think we would talk about Chris Paul completely differently. Yes, he's considered the point guard, but it's always brought up. He don't got the ring. He gets injured in the playoffs. So I think his career would be talked about differently. Some old school names, John Stockton and Karl Malone, those two right there. Michael Jordan messed it up for them. They wasn't able to get it done because you had to see Mike. Karl Malone, John Stockton, and I'll throw another one out there. We just mentioned him earlier in the show. He's going to be on a podcast with LeBron James, Steve Nash. Steve Nash will be talked about differently, especially with the MVP conversation. Everybody says he shouldn't have got those MVPs. If one of those years that he got MVP, they got a title, it's talked about completely differently. Some people may even view him differently being on the podcast with Bron if he got a ring. But y'all already know how it is. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell everybody about the podcast. If you love basketball or you know somebody that loves basketball, the Corner 3 pod, that's the pod for you. We out. Peace.
Thank you, Nico.